This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 262.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events, I'm excited. Next week, we have 3 WordCamps all over the world, actually. So WordCamp Nordic, March 7th and 8th. It's the first WordCamp ever to be held out in Helsinki, Finland. So that's pretty cool. It's a 2-day camp. WordCamp Kota, Kinabalu, March 9th, a 1-day camp, and a favorite of mine, WordCamp Greenville, South Carolina, March 9th as well. That one popped up almost out of nowhere. I know the team out there. I'm not going to be able to make it this year. I went last year. It was a great time. And if you are in South Carolina or North Carolina, for that matter, come say hi to me. It's only 4 hours away, approximately. All right. Segment 1 in the news. Moving forward here. WordPress 5.2. Yes, it is already on the roadmap. 5.1 has been downloaded. Let's see. As of right now, there's actually a counter. 4.4 million times. 4,435,640 times as of right now. And this number just keeps going up. It's crazy. So that's 5.1. 5.2 is now underway. Upcoming release is going to be led by Matt Mullenweg and Josepha Hayden as acting as a release coordinator. Gary Pendergast has posted a new scope and schedule, and that makes April 23rd of 2019 the target release date. Beta should be due March 14th, which is in about 2.5 weeks. Release candidate 1, April 10th. And general release April 23rd, which is also Shakespeare's birthday and death day, in case of the trivia there for you. I do have a degree in theater. That's one thing I do remember. Okay. One of the proposed features, which is pretty cool, is block management, meaning it gives you the ability for users to turn off and on blocks that they're not using in the Gutenberg side of things. So there you go. That is in the news. Yeah, pretty light week at the moment. I'm recording a little early as I'm off to travel. I'm going to WordCamp Dayton. I'm recording this a day before I leave. So if I saw you there, it was great seeing you there. If I didn't meet you, sorry, next year. Okay, moving on. Segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this week's show. This week, WordPress on Amazon Web Services. Yes, I'm diving into WordPress again on another platform, a cloud service. As I mentioned I would last week, I reviewed Google Cloud Console in WordPress, and this week I'm going to do Amazon. And for this week's test, what I did was I went to EC2, as it is their free tier for personal learning purposes. Apparently, the full-blown services are this very similar, but you have to use AWS directly. And like cloud services, AWS has a bunch of options like Amazon Light Sale, and the pricing that I found varies from $3.50 up to $160 a month. And for that $350 a month, you get like 512 memory, 1 core processor, 20 gigs of space, and a terabyte of transfer. If you go to the $20 to $40 range, let's say $20 a month, 4 gigs of RAM, 2 core processor, 80 gigs of storage, and 4 terabytes of transfer. Apparently, there's also more data transfer allowances, more costs if you're in Asia Pacific, Mumbai, and Sydney. And as you'll see, as I explain here, a lot of options, a lot of confusion as well. But, just based on what you need, you pay for that kind of thing. I also found in some notes as well as I dove into this, AWS has a free tier. It includes 750 hours of Linux and Windows T2 micro instances each month for a year. So to stay within that, you can only use that micro instance. I'm not sure what happens after the 750 hours goes away, what you're charged. I couldn't figure that out. So back to EC2. So I noticed that you can also get a free 12-month account for the free tier access if you don't already have an account. And I was pretty sure I did because I was testing a bucket of data storage years ago, which I do have, and I found out I did have. I logged back into it, and I reset my password there. And like Google, they want a credit card on file, so I had to update mine to get full access. And then they wanted to confirm it was me with double authentication, double opt-in, right? So just two-factor authentication, excuse me, which also worked out fine. But then what was new is you get to pick a support plan. There's basic, dev, and biz. Basic is free. Developer is $29 a month, and then business is $100 a month. And what that gives you, I took a screenshot here. I'll put this in the show notes. 24/7 access to forums and resources. Developer level, you get email support to a person. You have a primary contact. For business, you get unlimited contacts. It's just like typical stair step up. You get more for what you pay for, obviously. In the small print, so this was my favorite thing here, on this pricing for support plan, and just so you know, I chose free for now for testing. But they said, need enterprise level support? Contact your account manager for additional information on running a business and mission critical workloads on AWS, starting at $15,000 a month. So yeah, if you have lots of money and you need enterprise level, apparently they would love to help you. So there you go. Okay, so moving on, clicking into the EC2 dashboard, I then clicked into an instance, brings up an options for me to pick an AMI, an Amazon Machine Image. I then use the search tool, WordPress, and then it narrows things down, and you click on AWS Marketplace, and you get a bunch of preset AMIs. Again, AMI is Amazon Machine Image. It's like a software image, right? I picked the WordPress certified by Bitnami and Automatic. The other option is a multi-site version of the same thing. And there's another 121 versions or variations that you could choose from, which I thought was crazy. For this test, I went with the first one, like I said, the Bitnami one with Automatic's blessing, I guess. It's free tier eligible. I clicked select. I went through a bunch of windows. For example, it gave me a bunch of options, what version of Ubuntu it's going to be running, different pricing tiers. I picked the T2.micro. I then configured the instance details. There was nothing to do there. I did some research on this. I just left the defaults. For that and for storage, I left defaults. And then I had to add tags. And this was interesting. I created a new tag. The key had to be name. The value had to be WordPress. The next is I get to review and then launch. There's a lot of steps, like I just said. It took a bit to go through this. And the interface and the UI and the UX, I wasn't a fan, honestly. So we'll come back to that as well as when I wrap this up. So then I get to review everything one more time. Before I get to review and launch things one more time, which is okay. I'm told the hourly software fee was $0 on this instance, but additional taxes or fees may apply. But I couldn't figure out if that was actually going to happen. I just don't know. So past that, I clicked on accept. A pop-up comes up asking me to select an existing key pair or create a new. So the key pair is the SSH. It allows me to do SSH via terminal. So if I wanted to have that root access, command line interface access, I skipped it for now. You are option to skip it, and I accepted the terms. System now starts up, and guess what? Nothing works because apparently I'm still not done. Even though you say launch this instance, now you have to go back to the EC2 instance, switch back to the management console web browser, select WordPress, click the actions, get the system log, and then in the system log is the password surrounded by hash marks. I'm not making this stuff up. This is just crazy in this process to get a WordPress instance going. Okay, the first time at least. So I did that. I got into it, and by chance I couldn't see the log in Chrome. I had to go and run Safari, by the way, to do this. Okay, so now that I'm in, I get the password, I get the username. The username is user. The password is this long hash, which is actually it's a fairly strong password, but it's in the log file. It's kind of weird. And I'm in, and I can see right off the bat it's running 5.03. There's 6 plugins that need updates plus 3 themes. The themes were 2019, 17, and 2016. The plugins that were running were Akismet, all-in-one WP migration, Amazon Poly, SEO Pack, all-in-one SEO Pack, Google Analytics by Monster Insights, Jetpack, Hello Dolly, Simple Tags, and WP Mail SMTP. So those are the plugins that were there, and 6 of them needed updates as well. So poking around, general settings like I did last time on Google this one's called just users blog. The IP addresses and the fields are locked out. They're grayed out and locked out. You can't change them at all, even accidentally, which is a good thing, I imagine. On Google Cloud Console, I could change the IP address, which I wouldn't want to do. You want to go ahead and get a URL and redirect it with, DNS name records. So you can create more instances from this, like Google Cloud Console. There's a lot you can do here. It's your own server. You are in full control of it. You can create one instance, save it, use it as a clone if you want. If you want to associate a domain name with your website, you have to go through Amazon Route 53. I didn't even do that. I didn't even try that because I had a hard enough time just getting this to work. It took a longer time than I thought it would than Google Cloud Console. So also, I went back a day later just to check things out and kind of see if there's anything that's been running, if I'm being charged for anything. I let it run overnight, a day and a half actually. And the instance was gone, literally gone, but the site was still working. And I thought, that's odd. Is it a browser issue? Was it Chrome or Safari again? And when I realized that somehow I clicked a button and I was only showing instances in a certain region. Yes, you have to, there's no way to see all instances in all regions. You can pick a region. I had Oregon on the West Coast, but there's also East, West, Asia, multiple places in the European Union, etc. So all that said, yeah, it was snappy as well, like the way Google was. It was fast. I updated all the themes and the plugins, added a plugin, added a theme, moved things around. Standard operation procedures after that. But getting things set up for the layman, for the basic user, I would say no. I couldn't, in good conscience, recommend anybody to use AWS or even Google Cloud Console at the moment. I just think it's a lot of work to do it. And for what reason? I think there's plenty of other good hosting companies out there. I mean, I know there are, So can it be done? Absolutely. Once it's up and running, it's a normal server. I would be interested in seeing what could indicate more bandwidth or what may happen as far as cost goes. There's a light sale. I think the Amazon light sale gives you a flat rate, so that's actually safer than maybe just doing it based on the second or minute or hour. But I'm not going to let this one run. I'm going to take this one down after I'm done reviewing it right now. It's there. It's an option. I don't think it's a great option at the moment for most of my clients. It won't happen. I guess if you need to scale and you really want to be totally in charge of every little thing, and you really like either Google Cloud Console or Amazon Web Services, then that's your choice. But I probably won't be using it moving forward. So there you have it. Just some experience and insight on those two competing services as they're trying to grow their reach into everything in the world. Okay, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. Oh, this is cool. I want to share a new podcast actually with you. Women in WP podcast. This was launched by Amy Masson, Tracy Apps, and it is Angela Bowman. So check it out. It's over at womeninwp.com. Very happy and excited to hear their take on WordPress from a woman's perspective. And there you go. Okay, I think that is it this week. It is. So I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use the speak pipe function on the website. You can support the show, become a Patreon. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.